Hey everybody, welcome to lesson 8. This week we're moving on into another writing assignment that you'll be working on actually over the next several weeks. This week we start the first pages of that. You'll be writing a 2 to 3 page persuasive essay. So you'll be moving on. We've written a personal essay, and then we'll move to this. You move to the critical essay. Now you'll be writing a persuasive essay, sort of combining a lot of the techniques that you've used over the course of the semester into a longer persuasive essay. You'll also be working on improving your writing style, which really we've been doing all semester also, but you'll kind of bring some more focus to that with the writing lessons, which include thesis development. Your thesis statement is an important part of what you'll be writing, especially in the persuasive essay, where you need to have a point at the beginning of the essay where you state exactly what you are arguing for, and then you'll need to argue for that in the paper. Now, and then you'll also be talking about or learning about organization and outlining and the elements of persuasion, the different things that will help others to understand what you're saying and to to sort of usher them into your opinion, to invite them into engaging with you in this topic. So that's what you'll be doing in the writing lessons this week. You also got grammar exercises per usual. And now I just wanted to talk briefly about the writing assignment, which again is a persuasive essay. What you'll be doing is identifying a problem and proposing a solution to that problem, or you will take a stance on a controversial issue. Now, the first thing that you'll need to do is convince your reader that the issue is a matter of concern. And you'll be doing that again in stages over the course of the next few weeks. This week, actually first, the final the final version of the paper needs to be 2 to 3 pages long, about a 500-word minimum, double-spaced, professional Times New Roman font, 12-point, 1-inch margins, etc., etc. This week, you will be focusing on an explanatory outline. You'll bring a draft of that to your gathering this week to receive some peer feedback, and then you'll submit the outline to me by the end of the week. Now, there are some different ways of outlining. The explanatory outline is a little different than others. You'll not only write the outline of what your paper will look like, but with each section you'll be explaining what you intend to do in that paragraph or section of the paper. That's what the explanatory outline will look like. There's an example for you here of what it will look like. You'll start off with your thesis statement and then move into, you'll talk about the introduction, and then the next paragraph you'll talk about this, then I'll explain this, and then end this, etc., etc., as you move through. So this is a good outline, good example of an explanatory outline. So take a look at that, because that's what you'll be focusing on this week. Now, in terms of the overall paper, these are the criteria that I will be looking for. You can look at the rubric on your own, but I just wanted to point out the main things that I will be assessing your writing against, the standards that I'll be using. It needs to have a thesis statement. You need to provide support for your ideas, so you're not just stating your opinion or taking a position and then leaving it at that, but you provide support for that. You're saying, this is why I believe what I believe, or why am taking this position, in essence. It needs an introduction and conclusion, so you're framing it, saying this is what I'm talking about, and then in the conclusion you'll go back and tie things together so that it becomes very clear what you are arguing for in the paper. It also needs to be focused and organized. It's coherent and unified. Each paragraph should be tied together, focused on one main idea. And also grammar mechanics and formatting. That the grammatical missteps are kept to a minimum, and that they don't become a distraction from the argument itself. So you can click here for a printable version of the rubric that will pop up. You can download that, keep it with you, print it off, whatever. And so that is the writing assignment for the week, is your explanatory essay, and it's also tied into the reading assignment and the discussion board for the week. You'll be reading about writing persuasive papers. Here's an example, the bystander effect with commentary, an example of a persuasive paper. It's Now, as you read both the essay, I also encourage you to read the commentary because it will provide some understanding of the nature of a persuasive essay, what's going on in the persuasive essay, so that you can get a good idea of what those feel like, what they look like, what a good example of that should be. Then in the discussion board for the week, you will be exploring a couple of different topics, perhaps 1 to 2 possible topics for your persuasive essay, and then you'll need to answer these questions about it. For instance, what position are you taking on this topic or controversy? Why did you choose it? What interests you about it? What's your personal connection to it? And I really encourage you to pick a topic that interests you so that you can be engaged with it, that you don't become bored of it as you move along, because you will be spending excuse me, some time with this topic, and you need to be interested in it. Excuse me again. You should also feel free to consider anything that you're unsure of in the position you want to take and why you're unsure of that. And then look at the bystander effect and explain a strategy that you'd like to use when writing about your own subject. So that's a good thing to do when you read other persuasive essays. Excuse me. Is to look at the strategies that they've taken and how can I employ this in my own writing? How can I use them as an example, as a model for my own writing? And of course, you'll have your responses due by the end of the week. So that's the discussion board. And that's the main thing that you'll be focusing on this week again, and is the starting off your new writing assignment. And that's all I've got for you now. If you have questions about anything, please do feel free to let me know. My inbox is always open.